just for them. But we have seen it time and time again, and that's the first thing we usually ask them. When was the last time you guys went out together for even half an hour? And if you can't do that, at least leave your spouse a little note. I love you. I don't have time for you today. I don't have time for us to do something special today. But I love you. Or bring a flower. I know we were speaking with a guy just this week, and he said nothing's changed. I said, tell him to go get a card, or if money's a problem, make a card, color it, and put on it whatever he wants, but give it to her and get her one rose. He doesn't have to buy her a whole dozen roses, but just the thought to know that we're thought of can speak volumes.
That's cheesy. Sorry. Cheesy. Sorry. Yeah, cheesy.
With the kids, prioritizing the children. Ultimately, the reason all this confusion comes in is because we marry, it's supposed to be a desperate partner. So we bring it upon ourselves. But a lot of times people fail to realize that children are just gifts that we're stewards over, not possessions.
Yeah, that's...
So when people are overly ownership of their children and that, I think it stems from our selfishness.
Right. Yeah. Good point. I mean, they're ours.
That's why we have to be transformed into spiritual beings instead of thinking.
Yeah, and that's huge in a blended family because, we have that mentality that, I created these kids, so they belong to me, right?
Ownership versus
Stewardship. You have to get that idea, and it makes everything work. Is when, whether they're yours, mine, or ours, they're all gifts from God, and we need to be good stewards, train them up in the way they should go, teach them about God, and then give them back.
They should be all ours. There's no more your kids, my kids. It's all ours.
They need to be ours, but we need to understand they are God's, and He's allowed us to train them up.
Another note somebody told us, and it was awesome, is just write a note saying, I've got you covered today. Like, I've got your back.
Handwritten, especially.
Volumes. Volumes.
Or these days, a text even.
Well, Tony said no, text won't work for her.
no, it's cheesy. It's cheesy.
It's
If you
too
don't
easy.
have time to take a few minutes yourself, it's flat cheesy.
Yeah.
Unless you've made time this direction, you can do the little thing. But if you haven't made time this direction, that's just
Well,
flat
and
cheesy.
that's part of being intentional, right? You take the time for what's important.
Yeah, but it's what speaks to the couple. And so for you, that doesn't work.
Understandable, but you can't just sit, I'm too busy, here's your little note. Sorry.
There's an app that actually...
I'm gonna leave no
There's a I just had a comment with my mom because it was 6 of us all together.
Yeah.
And my mom was married to my dad for like 20 years or something. He passed away. And she said, like, right from the beginning, I'm not going to get remarried or anything because I don't want to put anyone before you all. And, once we was teenagers and stuff, we was like, can you please try to get with somebody? So you learned all responsibility. Right, we like, can you please do something? If she's like, we'll wait till you all get grown and then I'll go out on the dating scene. She still hasn't, but, I think that if she would have, did as you said and went ahead and went out there, I think she, passed up on some good possibilities, with putting us first.
Well, and that, see, that goes back to the vertical, getting that right, and allowing God to do what God's going to do. Keep the doors open, right? Because if you shut the door, you're locking yourself in. And God's all about opening doors. Now, He will close some.
And sometimes our children become our own identity. They are. They become your identity.
And in a way, that becomes an idol.
That's exactly what it becomes.
There's a lot of parents out there whose children are their idols. And you just have to be careful. It's all about the priorities, right? You got to get the priorities right. Understand God is sovereign. It's all about Him. It's not about us. And our job here on the planet is to spread His image throughout everything.
I think something that helps with preventing your kids from being like your identity, something that says, is when you understand that they are gifts from God. It makes everything easier to say your identity isn't tied up in kids.
Right.
Or
Exactly.
mom,
And
or whatever it is.
that's what we've seen to be the real, like, the bottom line issue is, the parents see themselves as whatever my kids do, and they don't understand who they are in Christ,
Right.
so they're not explaining to the kids who Christ is.
Right.
It's all about them.
Then you can't, I would think that you can raise like a fully functional like being to go out there then and live in the world as an individual when you're not showing them that you are an individual apart from them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's very true. Our job is to raise them up and kick them out.
Sarah has something to say.
Right.
It's a lot to think about. This is all good. I was thinking about the kids, how they don't belong to us. We're stewards.
Right.
I know for my own self, following the laws and my kids going with their dad. I know that my mom gave me a picture of Moses' mom putting the baby in the basket down the river, and I thought, if she could do it, I just have to give my kids to the Lord,
Yeah, see, we're all supposed to send our kids down the river.
God has a plan.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have to have faith and trust and believe that God is God. And God is going to do what God's going to do.
Well, because the way we think and the way God thinks are nothing alike.
Yeah.
And when we give our lives, we gain our lives.
Right.
And our children, as far as, when we're to count our cost of to follow Christ, when we're supposed to be willing to give up, that's because when we give, we receive.
Right.
So when we want to hold on to our children or anything because of the way we think or feel, well, that's completely against.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
Then you lose everything.
Right.
Yeah. When you try to hang on to your life, you lose it. But if you give it to God, then you gain it. Right. And it's.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt. It even makes things like losing a child, not just in a custody sense, but if you have a child pass away, it makes that easier, which is hard to imagine. But when it's viewed solely that this child is a gift and the short amount of time that you were able to spend with a child is treasured, and you look at it from a grateful, humble perspective, it even makes something as painful as death easier.
Right.
Yeah.
When you know where you're going after, then it makes it much easier to deal with.
I used to be really scared to let my children go places. Like, my son is 16 and my daughter is 14. And what I started focusing on or thinking about was that God is in control of everything. And He has a purpose for everything that happens. So if God allows something to happen that's negative or bad, there's a purpose behind it. So I just started letting go and giving them in His hands because they are His.
Yeah. And if you train them up in the way they should go, right? There's tons of prodigals out there. But when they're old, they won't depart from it. Now, I got some Sunday school classes as a kid and totally walked away. And then when I was 50, I had to come back. Yeah, and there's 40 years in the middle there of 40 years in the wilderness, right?
What you been doing?
And then I got over on the other side of the Jordan, so now I'm good now. But, it's faith in God, trusting God that He is God, but understanding His sovereignty in everything, right? Like Dave said, the more we try to hang on to stuff and manage it, and especially a sin issue, we try to manage our sin. Well, it's not that bad, right? It's bad, and it destroys the vertical relationship. So they're pretty much out of time. Any last comments, questions?
Karen?
Anything to add?
No, that's been my case.
I'm just asking for our leaders here. Jen, we leave something out?
No?
Okay. There's another leader in here I kind of put to the side here, but Rod, do you have any comments that you'd like to add with this class?
Not today.
Not today? Okay. All right. So I guess we're about done. We're going to close in prayer. Thank you all for joining the Blended Families Ministry program today. This ministry was created to help blended families learn how to use biblical tools that will help you thrive. We are Doctors Larry and Carol Snapp, and we invite you to listen to our weekly shows here on ChristianLivingRadio.com and to visit our website, blendedfamiliesministry.org, to learn more about the ministry and all that we do. Thank you, and God bless.
Tune in next week with Doctors Larry and Carol Snapp right here on ChristianLivingRadio.com with Blended Families Ministry out of Phoenix, Arizona, located at the Dream City Church in Phoenix, 13613 North Cave Creek Road, Phoenix, Arizona, 85022. Or call them at 602-863-7978. Or you may go directly to their website, blendedfamiliesministry.org. ChristianLivingRadio.com is a 501c3 ministry, so your contributions are greatly needed. They are fully tax deductible. So please give, donate today, whatever God places on your heart to give. There is no gift that is too small, no gift that is too large. All we ask is that you support us so we can continue to bring you wonderful content to bless your marriages, your family, and your walk with God. Thank you once again. That was Blended Families Ministry here on ChristianLivingRadio.com. Remember to like us on Facebook, tell a friend, and share us. Or follow us on Twitter at CLR Ministry. Have a wonderful week. God bless you.